always, I have to go by the booth of my friends on NSKN because they have run the show this year. I kid you not. Um, Guys, Agnieszka, Andrei, progress, evolution of technology, gone. Praetor, 8 copies left. Versailles, 17 copies left, and still a few hours to go. You're gonna sell everything you have this year. This is an amazing show, isn't it?
Yes, it's a spectacular show for us, and it's like one of the most awesome SN. Okay, it's only fourth, but it's the best SN we ever had.
Andrei, I know that you usually run like a headless chicken going from meeting to meeting. And I believe this year you were about to break your personal best. How many meetings have you had in the last 4 days?
Didn't keep exact count, but I'm gonna say 65 to 70.
You win the show. That is, that is insane. That is completely insane. Guys, how is the company doing? You have been growing a lot. Games sold out. You having meetings all over the place. The space of the booth has been pretty much doubling every year. This is quite an incredible success. How are you doing this?
Just very hard work, a little of sleeping, and more hard work. And yeah, we just try to stay motivated. And one of the things we did is the Kickstarter, which give us a motivational, energy for the next, I think, few years, because people there, they were just unbelievable. I didn't believe there are people as such, and we managed to actually meet some amazing people there.
If I may add, we like what we're doing. I think that's the most important part.
And you're doing it really, really well. This is the first time you guys have gone to Kickstarter. What made you decide to try Kickstarter instead of going the usual route that you have funded any other game by?
Tough question, and I have to take this one. It felt like the kind of game which is suitable for Kickstarter. We want to give the people the chance to see, to know us, the company, and the game firsthand. It's direct communication to the final customer, to the people who actually touch our game, play the game, and hopefully like the game. Well, and we had to try it at some point. Everybody seems to be doing it. And we wanted to see if we can do it right. It looks like we've got most of the things okay. I'm sure there is always room for improvement. And we got to know a lot of people. I mean, it was an amazing experience.
How was it for you, Agnieszka?
That before we actually clicked the button publish, we were just looking at each other. It's like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? And the first 3 days, actually the first 12 hours, we almost couldn't sleep, and then we were funded. But the first 3 days, we were just overwhelmed from happiness. We did not expect that going that well, so it was a very positive experience. And this also creates the space for us to see that people actually like our games, they enjoy our games, they are actually liking us as a company. So it means it gives us the motivation and the reason why we should do and continue with it, which is really, really important for a publisher of our size, because this actually makes us feel that we are appreciated and we are needed.
No, I cannot remember. Did the crowdfunding campaign, the Kickstarter, was it based in the UK Kickstarter or in the US Kickstarter?
The US Kickstarter. We used one of our friends, Ludi Puster, and they helped us to actually do it through the Kickstarter US.
What difference has it made in terms of the demographics and the spread of the games? Because I know obviously in Europe it's fairly easy to send things, where the US is more difficult not to crack because of the shipping cost, distribution is more difficult. How has it helped from that point of view?
Oh, first of all, surprisingly, because of the size of the US market and the whole market, I'm not talking about the hobby market here, it's actually cheaper to ship many copies from anywhere in the world to the US and get the guys their copies for a reasonable price. This is one of the reasons. I mean, we understood firsthand why most of the Kickstarters have US free shipping, because it simply, I mean, the numbers make sense. we managed to also offer a decent shipping for the whole world. I mean, there were $5 for Europe and $10 for the rest of the world, including Australia. We managed even that.
That is very, very impressive. Not many projects can afford to do that. That's
This was just a humongous research. So before we actually approached to create a project, we spent more than a half a year before that going through almost every single Kickstarter project, going through all blog posts of people who actually did the Kickstarter. We did our own statistics. We did not only how the Kickstarter project should look like, but we tried to cover every single possible thing which could go different way that we expect. And I think we did. This was the key, that we spent a lot of time to prepare ourselves to actually check the pricing, check the weight, how it's going to be, how big size it's going to be, how we're gonna pack it. It was all prepared beforehand, so we don't have surprises, and our backers do not have surprises.
And Agnieszka started working on researching Kickstarter a bit more than 2 years ago. She prepared a document with everything, with all the do's and don'ts. This was made in early 2012. Afterwards, we kept studying and trying to understand what is the key to having a successful Kickstarter, not only in terms of money, but also in terms of getting the game really fast in time. You probably know that many Kickstarters are late. I'm not going to say most of, because lately more and more companies are able to deliver on time. But this was one of our key goals, to get the game fast and on time without even 1 day of delays. And it looks like we're succeeding.
and good for you. But that's not the only thing you've been doing. Praetor has been an absolutely massive hit. I mean, every single person I know, including my group, and they are very hard to please, we have absolutely loved it. What is so different? What is unique about that game, and you think that's really taking people by storm?
Thank you so much. Very kind words. Thank you so much. I believe it's, in my personal opinion, I will say like that, what is very unique in this game is the very simple but very unique system of upgrading your workers, which are gaining experience, therefore later on they are just retiring. It's a very simple thing, and it also is an educational thing for people who didn't know, but it actually, in ancient Rome, it happened that they had the first time introduced the pension plan. So in case you play our game, Praetor, you will be able to actually, it's not imaginative, it actually did happen. And then I think that the game is really replayable in many ways, because the tiles, therefore actions which will come to you, they are never the same because they are shuffled. So every game will be different because these actions will appear in different moments of the game. So your strategy will change from game to game.
Now, mechanically, one question that came around my table. You get extra point if the corners of the tiles match the colors. But it doesn't seem, the number of points you get, it doesn't seem like it makes that huge of a difference. Why did you incorporate that?
Well,
Andrei, you're the designer. So
I have the advantage of, okay, my name is on the box, that's fair enough, but we have the advantage that we can work together, and we like different kinds of games. So whenever I get stuck, Agnieszka can take over and figure out ideas. The way she fixed Exodus, and she actually came with the biggest part, and it happened the same with Praetor. And actually this idea with the corners, it was a common thing. It's just I'm maybe more willing to put my name on stuff.
I have a very, very simple explanation for the corners. So as you know, the tiles are pretty big, and one of the reasons we put the mosaic on the corners is the aesthetic point of view. Plus, it gives you this feeling that you are actually getting few points every turn if you didn't get any. And another thing is, it's not a game changer, don't get me wrong, but it also forces you to put the tiles in a way that they will not start creating a humongous surface. And this was the main goal of the game, to motivate in a very small way players to actually combine the tiles in the way that they will take the least surface on the table. So they also enjoy the game, and they can see how the city itself grows as it's supposed to. Not in a humongous lane which you just go from one side of the table to another. So it's not a game changer, and we are actually saying to people that if you don't think this is giving you any points, then yes, you can play with it. It will not destroy the game. It will not destroy the game, but it will actually help you to minimize the space on the table.
And I'd like to add one more thing. This is what people have noticed actually here in Essen. The corner scoring indeed doesn't make a huge difference when you're building a tile for 10, 20 points and you are gaining 1, 2 or 3 extra. But in the very beginning of the game, I mean, usually the game ends with the points in the range of 200, maybe even 300. But the scoring is usually pretty tight. Having these extra points in the very beginning when the tiles, the starting positions, the starting position tiles are matched, these extra points might sometimes make a difference. It's not a lot of points, but when you're building a tile for 2 points or 3 points, adding 3 or 4 more, well, that's doubling the value for very little resources spent on a tile. It's obviously debatable. I mean, some people play without it, and okay, that's fine. I mean, it's something that we actually covered talking on forums on Board Game Geek. Something that is okay. I mean, a game is supposed to be enjoyed by people. Right? If people enjoy the game with slightly different rules, that's absolutely fine.
For us, it was very interesting because we thought it was a very, very good tiebreaker. Because it pretty much guarantees that you're never going to end up with the same amount of points. But the notion that it is what you use without telling people, the players, how to control the space that you're playing at, that's a piece of genius as far as I'm concerned. That's fantastic. That's excellent. And Versailles, that is also looking gorgeous. Tell me about Versailles. What kind of game is it?
This is a worker movement game. I know there is no such term, but this is what I invented. It's it's a game when the core of the mechanics, it's based on the Mancala system. So every workers of all the players are starting in a specific locations at the beginning of the game. Therefore, I'm not saying they are worker placement because they're already placed before you play. Depends on the number of players, the locations will change. And what you're doing, you're trying to build a Palace of Versailles, of course, and therefore you need resources, you need specific tiles, you need specific decorations, throne or coat of arms, and so on. And you also have a small technology tree. I think we cannot do game without technology tree. So we have a small tech tree which actually allows you to perform actions on another player's turn or gain more resources on your own turn. So it also helps you to actually have a better chance to build tiles. And of course the game ends when the king arrives to Versailles for the inspection, so better be ready.
Andrei, for you, what's been the most fun part of designing Versailles?
Well, I'm not sure if I should say that out loud. I don't know if you know, but Versailles was initially titled Exodus 2. It was a game with a science fiction theme, a sequel to Exodus Proxima Centauri. And then we presented the game into a small convention in Romania, and we met Daniele Tascini, who is the co-designer of Tzolk'in, and he was like, "Guys, it's a great game. What's wrong with you with this theme?" And we're like, "Come on, people love science fiction. We love science fiction." He said, "You know what? Make this game about some famous city or monument or something, and you will actually sell it." Right? So, and then we were like, nah. And then we were like, well, what if he's right? I mean, Daniele is a really good guy, and he knows his stuff about gaming. And it got us thinking. And then we asked more people, and they're like, yeah, it might be more interesting. So, retheming this game, keeping the core mechanics, but putting it in a medieval environment, from a science fiction moving robots to moving teams of workers around the Palace of Versailles, building a French architectural marvel was very cool. Actually, we discovered we can do many things.
And many actually rules, the core mechanics as a Mancala system stayed in place as we planned, as we had, but honestly, there's nothing else we could use from that. So we had to redesign the small pieces of the game so we can, and this is basically, we figured out that what can we build, because in the initial version, it was actually different system. You had to actually discover things, not to build things, and so it was a lot of work to actually make sure that the theme is represented by the game and the mechanics. But the core mechanics, the Mancala system is there, and this is what stayed. So it's a stripped Exodus without theme and without many rules.
It comes to show how much you can achieve when you're prepared to compromise and change something that you thought was there to create something different and possibly even better.
Yeah, this was really a big problem because we know that, for example, yes, we got to this idea of that game the moment when we were preparing the expansion for Exodus Proxima Centauri. And this is the problem, that if we have that idea, this game will see the light within the next maybe 2 years. And we really like the mechanics, how we did it. So we said, we really want to show it. It's really cool. And you know, if you have a fresh idea, then you really want to show it now, because you don't know what is in people's head, and there might be many amazing people who will figure out the same thing. So you try to be the first, and I'm very frank, I'm very honest here, because this is the reality. We wanted to share this, what we created, what we managed to do, as soon as possible, and this is what we did.
What's next?
Well, we've got pretty big plans. We need to first digest what has just happened here and then rethink, but what's almost as a promise, but not quite there, is that...
No, you cannot say that. It's like 99.9%.
99.9%, correct? The expansion for Exodus, which many people are waiting for, asymmetric gameplay, new technologies, new action cards. Simurg, it's a game by Pierluca Zizi. He has just made a big buzz this year with Hyperborea. He prepared a game for us, which is very cool.
It's actually a fantasy Euro, so be prepared. There are going to be dragons.
And the board building game.
Dragons.
Yes.
Dragons. Sold. Sold. Right away.
Very, very great game. We actually are working on this game for the past 2 years. So it's not like we just discovered it because this project was really nice, but it's a ginormous game. So you will see definitely 99.9%, sorry, next Essen.
And then an expansion for Progress. People keep asking us, so what's going on with Age 5? You told us so much about the possibility of Age 5. Well, we're working on it. We're doing a bit more than working on it, but I don't want to get ahead of ourselves and say too much. It's most likely going to happen, and most likely sooner than people expect this to happen.
Ooh.
Well, there you go. Now you know. Guys, thank you.
All.
Okay.
No, you thought that was all. We just had 3 games this year. That's not all. Now, we prepare... Błażej Kubacki, he's around here. I don't know if he's in the camera frame right now, but he is now part of our team, and he has a brilliant game idea. It's called...
Not idea, it's a game which is now in playtesting phase.
Yeah.
So.
It's called Mistfall. It's an adventure cooperative game. I'm not going to compare it to any other product on the market because too many other people will. It's a game which you will want to play.
I will want to play anything. I'm a games junkie. I'll play wherever.
So this is something that was missing from our portfolio, and this is another thing which will come this year, next year, and there might be just one other thing, but let that be a surprise.
But he said this year, you know, sometimes he's thinking that he's joking, but he's not, and I was like, oh no, not this year.
Well, now you have left me really, really excited. Thank you very much indeed, guys. I am absolutely thrilled and delighted that you're going to sell absolutely everything out. Very, very much deserved. I look forward to seeing you at the UK Games Expo, and I look forward to seeing what else you're going to come up with, because it sounds absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and we're going to work hard, and thank you for having us on your show, and amazing work.
Thanks a lot.